Russian mob boss Loto Guli, Tsar TV. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to help support the channel, PayPal link in the description down below. After being released from prison in 2017, Salifov quickly becomes one of the most powerful gangsters in Russia. He didn't just have a crew. Salifov had a transnational syndicate of some of the most violent and vicious criminals that Russia had to offer. By the time he was 23, Salifov was already awaiting trial for a double homicide. And by this time, he was already very well known and respected by high-ranking mobsters all over Russia. In 1996, Salifov blew trial and was sentenced to 15 years in prison. In prison, he had a reputation for being extremely violent and fearless. The other inmates gave him the nickname Guli, which means big heart. When Guli turned 27, a ceremony was held in his honor by two Russian godfathers outside of prison to officially induct Guli into the family, known as thieves-in-law, or воры в законе. Meanwhile, in prison, Guli is placed in an isolation cell to try to get him away from all of the Russian mobsters. It didn't take long for Guli to take control of this prison and get all of the prison officials on his payroll. He had Las Vegas quality card tables brought in and set up a little mini casino for himself in the prison. He would also constantly have models and actresses coming to visit him, and it wasn't uncommon for them to spend the night before leaving. Guli would continue to control his criminal empire right from his prison cell, using a cell phone and Skype. He would send his guys to see whoever he needed to speak with the cell phone, and they would get on Skype and he would literally speak to them face to face from his prison cell. Once higher-ups found out that Guli had a casino inside the prison and that he had cell phones that he was running his business with right from his prison cell, they came and shut everything down and brought him up on more charges. In order to entice Guli to plead guilty to all of the new charges, the cops decided to arrest his brother and plant a gun in his car. They told Guli that if he pleads guilty, all of his brother's charges will go away, the gun will disappear, and it'll be like nothing ever happened. Guli told the officials if his brother wasn't released immediately, riots would start erupting all over every single prison in Russia. On February 12, 2005, 200 inmates in Colony 11 broke through the roof, set fires, and set off the first riot. The next day, Colonies 13, 2, and 6 started rioting as well. Ultimately, they had to send in the Russian SWAT teams to bring order to chaos. Besides battling with authorities, Guli had acquired some powerful enemies in the Russian criminal underworld as well. One of the most famous was Ravshan Linkaratsky. Him and Guli were at war over control of the vegetable produce trade, which netted hundreds of millions of dollars a year in profits. When the big boss at the time, Grandpa Hassan, had a falling out with Linkaratsky, Guli and Hassan had a mutual enemy. In 2013, when Grandpa Hassan was assassinated, the prime suspect was Linkaratsky. Cops and Interpol put so much pressure on him that it was impossible for him to fight any ongoing wars with Guli or anyone else. Linkaratsky was forced to go into hiding. Guli and several others assumed newly vacant positions of power within the Russian criminal underworld. For years to follow, Guli would continue to run his criminal empire from his prison cell in a cell phone. In August 2016, Ravshan Linkaratsky left his hotel room in his brand new Range Rover. He was ambushed by several unknown men with Uzis and handguns and would die on his way to the hospital. It was widely believed that Guli was responsible for this hit, and Ravshan's brother vowed revenge. Next, Guli sent his men to see Rafik Musolinsky. Him and Musolinsky have been butting heads for a while, and he wasn't respecting Guli's position as boss. Guli's men beat him severely and cut off a piece of his ear, while Guli watched on FaceTime. The message was, anyone messes with Guli loses something. In August of 2017, Guli sent his men to see a businessman by the name of Nadir Salifov. Salifov was told to pay $3 million for protection. When he refused, he was taken to a cemetery and buried up to his neck. They called his brother and put him on the phone and let them know that he was about to die. The brother was able to come up with $120,000, and he gave them his 5 Series BMW in exchange for the location of the cemetery where they left his brother, buried up to his neck. On October 23, 2017, Guli finally walks out of prison a free man at age 45 after doing 22 years. Soon as he was released, the heads of a lot of Russian families came to visit Guli to make sure that they were in good standing with him. Guli quickly relocated to Istanbul, where he'd be able to run his criminal empire without any interruptions from the police. On November 2nd, 2017, Istanbul police received a tip that there was an 11-man hit team coming to Istanbul to kill Guli. They stopped the men at the airport. It's interesting to note that one of the assassins was Rafshandlin Karadzi's brother. Soon after, Guli relocates to Turkey, where he puts together a powerful clan of extortionists and assassins and begins taking over Ukraine and large parts of Russia. Businessmen started being killed and kidnapped all over the place in Russia. Immediately, the police suspected Guli. Guli would spend the following year traveling between Turkey and Dubai while controlling his criminal empire, with videos popping up periodically on social media of Guli enjoying life. Although Guli still had a handful of powerful enemies, he was constantly surrounded by a team of bodyguards. One of those bodyguards was a young man named Khan Akhmedlinsky. On August 18th, 2020, Han and Guli had dinner in a restaurant at a 5-star Turkish resort. After dinner, they walked back to their suite, and Han took this video of himself walking behind Guli back to the hotel room, as Guli spoke with someone on FaceTime. When they got back to the suite, they began to play poker while the rest of Guli's security team was in neighboring rooms. Han got up from the table, walked behind Guli, and proceeded to shoot him 4 times in the back of the head. It's interesting to note that this murder took place exactly 4 years to the day of Rafshandlin Karadzi's murder. When the rest of Guli's security team rushed into the room, Han said, "Sniper," and pointed to the window. He ran out of the room, and once Guli's security team figured out what actually happened, they gave chase. Han was shot in the back of the leg, but he was able to jump into a waiting car outside of the hotel and speed away. Turkish police would catch up with him and arrest him. It was later established that the video Han took of him and Guli walking back to the room was sent to 4 different numbers, as if to say, "I'm in position and I'm waiting for the green light." When the police questioned Han as to why he killed Guli, he said that he'd been planning to kill Guli for a long time because Guli was mistreating him. However, it was later established that after Guli's death was confirmed, $5 million was transferred to Han's account from an unknown account. One of the phone numbers that received a text message of Han walking behind Guli was confirmed by authorities to be the number of Rafshandlin Karadzi's brother. As of June 2021, he and several accomplices have been arrested and are awaiting trial for ordering the murder of Loto Guli as revenge for killing his brother in 2013. Han remains in prison awaiting trial for the murder of Loto Guli. Guli's right-hand man, Arman Jamagildiev, or as he's better known in criminal circles, Wild Arman, said that Han is a walking corpse. It's simply a matter of when it's going to happen.